Donald Trump will announce the strategic Bitcoin reserve of the U.S. in 48 hours. Attention folks, this is now confirmed by U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick, and we can expect a massive showdown at the crypto summit on Friday. Additionally, it seems that Donald Trump will announce a distinction between Bitcoin and altcoins here. So there will probably be a different perspective here. The Bitcoin reserve compared to the altcoin reserve, or we don't know if an altcoin reserve is coming or what that will actually look like. There are no details. All that Howard Lutnick has said is that a strategic Bitcoin reserve will be announced here. Also, we have the insider trader who leveraged massively on Trump's announcement of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think it was a 50x leverage or 100x leverage. No, it was a 50x leverage, I believe. So, the insider trader might know that a massive announcement is coming our way on Friday. This is huge. What's going on right now? And I made the video this morning, just a few hours until Trump hits Bitcoin. Very, very unexpected. And that's exactly what has just happened. Howard Lutnick is making this announcement very, very unexpectedly, while the video this morning was actually about a different announcement that Donald Trump might also make today, which is that tariffs between the US, Canada, and Mexico will be relaxed. That means this could trigger a massive impact here. So, we have a ton of factors that we need to look at now. And Donald Trump is really the main player right now, around whom the entire Bitcoin and crypto market revolves. The Bitcoin price has reacted positively here. And we can also see that the chances for a strategic Bitcoin reserve are definitely increasing. Right now, we have a 69% chance that the strategic Bitcoin reserve is coming, so the market is getting more and more bullish. And yeah, we've already seen a glimpse of what happened when Donald Trump announced in a tweet that the strategic Bitcoin reserve is coming. When we are here at the crypto summit, we already know that Donald Trump will be giving a speech there when we officially have the announcement, like, hey, the US is now creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Then it could really push things up. Just a heads up, this isn't investment advice or anything, because we also have to be careful. It could be that the market is expecting, hey, Donald Trump is going to announce that Bitcoin is being bought. If Donald Trump now just announces, hey, we are creating a strategic Bitcoin reserve, but will only convert the confiscated Bitcoin into a reserve, then I could well imagine that the market doesn't look so bullish. It seems like they're expecting more. And it could either turn out to be a nothing burger or even lead to a sell-off. That means anything can happen on that day. We could see a massive breakout if Donald Trump says, we're buying 1 million Bitcoins, selling the gold reserves, and putting everything into Bitcoin. Then it could be that the Bitcoin price goes up in another rally, and we hit the next Valhalla channel. But it could also be that Donald Trump doesn't meet expectations, and then it could take a dip down. Or it could be that Donald Trump just dances around the issue again, and it turns out to be a nothing burger, and they end up just talking about digital assets and some stablecoins or something like that. But we're also going to take a look at what Howard Lutnick specifically said, because he has already revealed some details about what exactly is supposed to be confirmed and how it's all going to look. And by the way, there are also other people here. Bitcoin folks have been invited. For example, Michael Saylor is invited here. I don't know if he will be giving a speech, but he's definitely invited. We can definitely see the connection between Donald Trump and Michael Saylor, and maybe Donald Trump will even have to listen to Michael Saylor's speech. Ultimately, it would be super bullish if Michael Saylor gives an absolute pitch, like a 30-minute speech, saying something like, yeah, we can pay off our debts with Bitcoin, we can get our national debt under control in 20 years. And then, after Michael Saylor says that and drops his bullish predictions, the next speech would be from Donald Trump or something like that. And then Donald Trump says, oh yeah, Michael, I agree with you. We can pay down our debts with Bitcoin. And by the way, we're selling all our gold and putting everything into Bitcoin. I don't think it's going to happen. That's just wishful thinking, to be honest. I really don't believe it's going to happen. I can definitely see a somewhat toned-down reform coming, where they might say, okay, the strategic Bitcoin reserve is going to happen, but we still need to evaluate what that will actually look like. So, we kind of got to have confirmation already, but they might say something like, okay, we're going to convert the confiscated coins, and everything else is still being evaluated, like how much Bitcoin we're actually going to buy in. What that will look like. There are also a lot of questions. That is, how is the castle done? Is it all lying around at Coinbase? Can you get it here? Bitcoin ETFs. Do you get Bitcoin in self-castle? How does it work? Do you have a stockpile or do you transfer it to the Southern Wealth Fund? And if you transfer it to the Southern Wealth Fund, it probably won't happen immediately. It will probably take some time. Or it could also be that they say, hey, folks, we've actually been buying Bitcoin for 2 years now. Check out our addresses. That would definitely be amazing. It would be a crazy twist if that were to happen. But for sure, we now have the news. Hey, it's official. We're going to learn more about the strategic Bitcoin reserve of the US at the crypto summit in the White House on Friday. Bonus. Other cryptocurrencies are treated differently than Bitcoin. And here's the source. U.S. Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick in conversation with the Pavlovich today. And here it is also very, very important to note that Howard Lutnick himself says that he has hundreds of millions in Bitcoin, which means Howard Lutnick isn't sure if he's still as well known as Fitzgerald. But he probably won't be once he's the Secretary of Commerce. He will likely still have something to say. Kentner Fitzgerald is a big investment house in the U.S., a relevant investment firm. And Howard Lutnick is definitely a big player, someone who has a significant stake in Tether, and he really has a lot to say. And if the hold is here, then so be it. Donald Trump is going to boost the Bitcoin price. And that's also my suspicion that Howard Lutnick has really taken Donald Trump aside here. And he said, hey, dude, we need to go all in on Bitcoin here. Then, I'd say it already has some punch. And now we have several statements from the interview here. So, he was a guest here at the Pavlovich today. I have no idea. I'm not familiar with it. It's probably some kind of news show or something like that. So, Howard Lutnick was definitely a guest here, and now we're really going to take a look at what he said because it's truly fascinating. He says, first of all, a Bitcoin strategy reserve is something the president is interested in. He talked a lot about it during the campaign, and I think you'll see that it's going to be implemented on Friday. So, he clearly confirms that a strategic Bitcoin reserve is coming this Friday. I mean, the question is, what does that mean? I think you'll see that it's going to be implemented on Friday. Is it already a confirmation? Drop that in the comments for me. Does it already mean that the strategic Bitcoin reserve is confirmed? Or does it mean that there's still a chance it might not happen? That he's just kind of, let's say, making this up in his head, and he doesn't have any insider information, or anything like that. So does he already have inside information from Donald Trump and is passing it on in this thing? Or does he not have any insider information and is just hallucinating something in his head? Feel free to drop that in the comments below. But to me, it sounds more like he's really, let's say, getting straight to the point. Because Howard Lutnick, as the Secretary of Commerce, I don't think it's such a great idea to spread any kind of path or anything like that. He's probably going to share his insights here, and he's likely going to get straight to the point. Then there's a second statement he makes. So, Bitcoin is one thing. And then there are the other currencies, the other crypto tokens. I think they'll be treated differently, positively, but differently, he added. That is also what I have always said. I have already, in the first video about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Hey dude, if you're setting up a crypto reserve, go for it, but just make sure you have 80, 90% Bitcoin, and then feel free to mix in 10, 20% with some other coins and so on, and then everyone is happy. We've seen by now that even the biggest Bitcoin skeptics are advocating for Bitcoin-only reserves. So, whether it's a Brian Armstrong or you could go through all the people like Tyler Winklevoss and so on, they all say, hey, only a Bitcoin-only strategy makes sense. And I'd say almost everyone is sure about that. And now it seems like Donald Trump has actually caught on to it. But other coins are also being treated positively here. So, you can definitely say, okay, they're regulatory, but you can't really tell from the statement whether other coins will also be included in the reserve or what that will look like. So, I find it really tough to buy any altcoins when you don't even know if they'll still be around in 3, 4, or 5 years, and so on. That could definitely backfire. That's why I say, if you create a strategic crypto reserve, for example, then in the long run only Bitcoin will be left anyway. Or maybe something else. It doesn't have to be just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is very, very likely to stick around. If you set up a strategic Bitcoin reserve with 5 coins or 6, 7 coins, it's likely that in 20 years, only 1 or 2 of those will still be around. And one of them will definitely be Bitcoin. And then Howard Lutnick adds in another statement, the president definitely believes that there's a Bitcoin strategy reserve, says Secretary Lutnick to Pavlovich today. So, that's the confirmation that the reserve is definitely coming. But that's not confirmation that the reserve is coming on Friday. That's just the confirmation that Donald Trump definitely knows about it and is definitely also how to go about wanting to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. That means Donald Trump wants to pump up the Bitcoin price. Eric Trump has been posting about it repeatedly. Hey, HODL, and buy the dip and so on. That means the whole Trump family has definitely jumped on the whole Bitcoin crypto train. Howard Lutnick is definitely way more bullish than Donald Trump. Cynthia Lummis is also bullish. There are so many people who are bullish right now. And on top of that, we need to know that there's still the whole situation with the federal states. That's still in the works, I'd say. It's currently being traded in limbo. That means all the states that also want to push through their strategic crypto and Bitcoin reserves. There have always been a few voices saying, okay, if Donald Trump pushes this through via executive order, that would be very bullish in the short term. But in the long run, it might not be so bullish after all. I'm not really familiar with the legislation, but the argument has always been along the lines of, if it comes through an executive order, it can also be relatively quickly overturned when Donald Trump is no longer in power. But if it goes through the Senate and all the hearing committees and whatever, and the long process, the democratic process, so to speak, where you also need the approval of the Democrats and so on, then you can anchor it in law in such a way that it lasts much longer, so that, let's say, the next government can't just overturn it because, for example, it includes the legislative proposal from Cynthia Lummis. You have to hold the Bitcoin for at least 20 or 30 years or so, and you can't sell it either, and so on. And if you do it via executive order, then it could be that when Donald Trump is gone, the next president just, by executive order, it says that you can sell the Bitcoin again. Just a note, I'm not a legal expert. Or it could be that the information here isn't 100% accurate. But that's how I understood it as a layperson. And now check this out. This was a real eye-opener for me. What's happening here? So it says here, someone is writing that the person who had just before Trump announced the strategic reserve went long on cryptocurrencies with 200 million, just changed their name to 7 in March. The crypto conference is taking place at the White House in March. Things are getting crazy, and you can see here who changed their name. That means we had the insider here who had massive leverage. the one who first traded the insider information that a strategic crypto reserve is coming, then took a massive long position and rode that big run up. So let me know in the comments if you think this is insider trading, that we're seeing the next big insider deal, or if this is all just a coincidence, or I don't know. So, I find it all pretty shady. First, you trade the market up with the strategic Bitcoin reserve announcement. No, it was with the crypto reserve announcement. So that means the trader next traded the negative news from Trump, and now they're taking the next positive news and trading it back up. So, we already have a lot of signs pointing to something massive, possibly happening this Friday. And it doesn't have to stop just with the strategic Bitcoin reserve, because there are also other very, very interesting personalities invited. And we can assume that there may even be more to come. But we also have to be careful, because we have had it so many times in the past that things have been announced and then not turned out the way we had planned. That's why I'm simply open herein. Of course, take on board everything that comes along. So, I'm happy to take it all in. And if you are now hyper bullish on Bitcoin and want to front run the whole thing, because this is also a great opportunity, if you front run, then you have a massive advantage. And you can really take advantage of that massive edge. For example, if you sign up at 21 Bitcoin, you can get up to 20% off the fees when buying Bitcoin with the code BitcoinHotel. Here, you can easily and securely buy Bitcoin. I'm going to show you my machete now, ultra bullish, because here is my strategic watermelon and coconut reserve. Check this out, how awesome is that? There's nothing better than coconut. Let me know in the comments what you think is better, coconut or watermelon. And also let me know in the comments if you want me to show you my papayas. I'm going to show you my machete again, because it's really, that's the ultimate. Check this out. In Germany, you probably end up in jail for having something like this. In El Salvador, I have to tell you, everyone has a machete when they need one. That's first of all to get through the jungle, and second, just to open coconuts. That means there are these 80-year-old grandpas walking around here, just walking around with a machete that's like, I don't know, about a meter long, it feels like. And in Germany, I think you're only allowed to have knives that are, I don't know, a certain length, like, what is it, a few centimeters long. This is ultra weird, and you can just get one of these things at the hardware store. It costs something like $6, $7 or something like that. So write to me in the comments, coconut, team coconut or team watermelon. Which team are you in, and what do you say about strategic Bitcoin reserves? Until then, peace out.